Let's not begin with this question of what's Indian, what's not Indian. What is the problem in your experience that requires addressing? Many of you have articulated the collective problems, right? You see social injustice, you see caste oppression, right? What are the terms of our social contract that can help resolve it? The question of whether it's Indian or not is neither here nor there. In fact, the only authentic Indian political theory is when you start listening to all Indians seriously. Right? There is no Indian political theory I will also say something more, which is, look, our tradition is extraordinary in many ways. I mean, our philosophical tradition is extraordinary. I mean, in philosophical terms. But I also do think political theory, as we understand, it's not its strong point. I mean, we can always trot out a bit of Kautilya here, and we can always trot out the realist question, right? Why is it not a strong point? Modern political theory has a very specific context. And the specific context is that modern political theory operates on an egalitarian plateau. We are all agents, right? That's why even North Korea has to call itself People's Republic of Korea, right? Right? Now, the two possibilities inherent in the modern world is, one is that egalitarian plateau. And the other thing, as I said, is political theory arises where you are partly asking the question, what is the form of collective society we are going to make for ourselves? Now, I'm caricaturing Indian political theory a bit, but most of the tradition of Indian political theory, so there's some amazing stuff about kingship, the virtues of kings, all of that, amazing stuff, right? There's incredible metaphysical stuff. But until the 19th century, the idea that you can remake the terms of your collective social existence is actually not central to that, right? The function of political order in some cases was to preserve caste hierarchy. So there is a society that exists outside of politics, whose function it is for politics to serve, not to reconstitute the terms. But even if it's not caste society, even if it's village republic, right, if you want to take, there's already a pre-constituted social outside of the realm of politics, which this politics serves. No modern political theory can start with that assumption, right? So you can get lots of, I think, for example, the question of violence and non-violence, the two central achievements of Indian political theory, as far as I'm concerned. One is the question of violence and non-violence, which you raised. I mean, there's very few philosophical traditions which have agonized about this question as deeply and as pervasively, right? The second is the question of consciousness, right? In a sense, what is it to be a human? What is the mystery of consciousness? But these don't easily translate, in a sense, into political theory as we understand it, right? And there's no shame in admitting it. I mean, I don't see why. I mean, on the one hand, we should say we shouldn't ape the West, right? Why should every tradition of thought have asked exactly the same questions and been an answer to the same questions, right? So, yes, we have to understand the Indian context very deeply, which means listening to every Indian, right? But if we keep searching, every decade, you pick up any journal of India in the 1970s, for an Indian political theory. Ask why those projects failed. The last time there was a kind of great project, and I think our independence has something to do with, right, which is pre-independence and national movement, there was this hope that India has something morally distinctive to offer to the world. Anybody who talked about Indian political theory pre-1947 did not talk about parochial Indian political theory, right? actually said if political theory is to mean anything, by its very logic, it must be a human good. It's also this narrowing of horizons. If we can claim Plato, Locke and Rousseau, why shouldn't the rest of the world claim Mahabharata or Kautilya or, Ambedkar? The minute we say Indian, we are saying their horizons are limited to this geography. Right? So, this obsession with Indian political theory is a disaster. Whether it's Vivekanand, whether it's Aurobindo in that strain of political thought, whether it's Radhakrishnan, whether it's the Indian left, pre-1947, nobody obsessed about the Indian political theory part of it. What will redeem the claim of Indian political theory is not that it's Indian. It will simply be that it has something to offer that people find attractive as an answer to the questions they're asking. Right? The reason Western political theory is important to us, not because the West imposed us, we are borrowing, I think it underestimates the innovation we have done. It's because it arose in a context that we actually share. This problem I articulated about the fragmentation of modern experience. And by the way, if you want to excavate the genealogy of it, Max Weber says India is the place that should be the first to recognize it. Because it actually recognizes the ethical autonomy of each of these spheres. These logics cannot be reconciled. The logic of ethics, knowledge, power, you have to, in a sense, manage them.